Yeah, so where have I been for a week? Well, I actually went away to grow this facial hair. I got the sideburns going, I got the old moustache, got the old, goatee compliment as well. It's really gonna add something to this channel. I feel that's why I've been away for a week. Okay, I actually was ill, actually. So yeah, rolled it. Hey, I'm Mr. Kev, and welcome to Power Oversteer, the real motorsport show on the ElusiveKev channel. And yeah, I have been away for a week, being ill, so sorry about that, but I should be back to regular now that I've kind of almost recovered from the bad cold I think I had that I've had for the past week. So, in this episode of Power Oversteer, we're going to talk about the Indycar series. We're going to talk about Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, where the Barber Motorsports Park is and where the second round of this season's IndyCar series takes place. And we're going to talk about some track facts, and then we're going to do our predictions for this race. So let's firstly go into some track facts. So, the Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama. It's been on the calendar since 2010, and this year is the second round of the championship, and it's normally been up there in the top 3 rounds of the championship. It was first considered for the calendar in 2007, had a single day test there for IndyCar, or IOL as it was known back then, and then a 3-day test in 2008, but it didn't make the calendar for 2009. However, it did make it onto the calendar in 2010, beat out the likes of Portland, who was on the Champ Car calendar on its last calendar in 2007, and it beat out Cleveland, the famous airport circuit, one of the famous of them all from the 90s in kart. And so yeah, it beat them out to be on the calendar, and it beat out also Baltimore, which was on the calendar since 2011, and Houston, which returns to the calendar this year. And so it's quite a popular track, it's quite a picturesque track, it's quite a short track as well, only 2.38 miles long or 3.83 kilometers long, and it has 90 laps in its race. It's got 14 or 15 turns, whoever, depends who you ask, but it's got some great sloping turns, but it doesn't have many overtaking spots. It's quite a narrow track. It was actually built in the thousands, I believe, and it was built actually initially for motorbikes, so it's quite a narrow track, and there's not many overtaking spots. Apart, the most famous one is probably turn 5 down the hill and then an up the hill hairpin, and it's quite wide for this track, and so you can go down the inside, you can go around 2 ride round it, and then try and sort the men from the boys on the exit. There's also turn 7 and 8 downhill chicane, but if you look into that, it doesn't always work, as I believe Ryan Hunter and Ryan Briscoe found out in 2011. But there's quite fast chicanes afterwards, 9 and 10, and then 11 and 12 before there's like round turn 14, which gets tighter as you go around it, and before turn 15, which leads you onto the short start finish straight. I did say it's a short lap. This year's pole position lap is a 107.0871 in the DW12, and on pole this year is Ryan Hunter Ray, but it hasn't always been a happy hunting ground for him, as I have already said, and it's normally been a happy hunting ground for Penske Racing. And on the front row alongside him is Will Power, the winner of this event the past 2 years, and Helio Castroneves won the event in 2010 and was on pole last. No, he wasn't on pole last year, but yes, he was on pole last year actually. Yeah, and you had James Hinchcliffe alongside him, who won the St. Petersburg Open from this year. So it's normally been happy hunting ground for Penske, especially for Will Power. As I said, last year he won it from 9th on the grid, beating out Scott Dixon and Helio Castroneves, and so he'll be looking to again repeat that this year, again after having bad luck in St. Petersburg and hoping to bounce back. But yeah, that is the Indy Grand Prix of Alabama, all the facts about it. So let's do some predictions of the event. So let's do some predictions for this race. As I said, Ryan Hunter-Reay in the top in the Andretti Autosport Machine, the reigning champion, feeling out a great fast at that time in the Fast 6. If you don't know IndyCar qualifying system, well, they split into two groups for the first part of qualifying. So Group 1 goes out on the track, sets their times, and they set generally the even, I believe, side of the grid, and then on the second group they go out and then they set the odd side of the grid, and this is from below position 12. So the top 12 from those groups, from the top 6 and top 6 from each group, go into the second part of qualifying, and then we have a group of 12 where they fight to be into the Fast 6, the final part of qualifying, so the top 6. And so you have these 12 cars are basically split in half into the top 6, and so the Fast 6, they basically have a lap to show their worth, and who does the fastest that basically sets the top 6 on the grid. And so it was Hunter-Reay this time. He showed he was the fastest of them all, ahead of Will Power. Power normally on pole here, so a bit of a surprise there. But Tristan Volche, the rookie in Smith, Hamilton, Peterson, Hamilton, HP Motorsports Machine. Oh, that's always a mouthful, but yeah, Volche just showed great pace. He's in third on the grid. His teammate Pagano is down in 13th, so brilliant qualifying from the youngster, and he could be a dark horse for the race. I'm not sure if he quite has enough in the tank maybe for the whole race, but I think he'll be up there in the top 10 at least by the time it ends. Hopefully, if the car doesn't expire him like it did in St. Petersburg. But yeah, Scott Dixon alongside him, and Charlie Kimball and the Chip Ganassi car. The first time ever he's been in the Fast 6 and in 5th place as well, so that's another surprise. And it's quite, actually the odd side of the grid is quite surprising it seems, but yeah, I don't think he will maybe carry on in the race, but I think he might just edge a top 10 in the race. Then we have Harry Castroneves alongside him in the Penske Machine, and Castroneves, as I said, Penske normally fast around here, so I was expecting to work his way up the order a bit into the top 3, maybe just like he did in St. Petersburg where he was second, behind James Hinchcliffe, of course, just behind James Hinchcliffe by under a second. Other surprises in the grid were AJ Allmendinger of Penske, and Allmendinger is his first open wheel race since 2006 off the top of my memory, with Foresight racing in the old Champ Car series before he went to NASCAR and Red Bull and the big bucks. But Penske's gone up offered him a chance at open wheel racing again this year after he had a bit of a ban from NASCAR last year for banned substances, and he took their drug rehab program, and now he's back in NASCAR. I think he's racing at the back of the grid. I think he's racing for Felix Racing. I want to say Felix Racing, but I'm not sure. The old team of Scott Speed, but yeah, he's definitely racing again in NASCAR. But he's also racing in IndyCar. It was announced this weekend that he's also going to race at Long Beach before he takes on the Indy 500 with Penske. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does. He qualified in the top 10, so a very good return to open wheel racing. I'm not sure if he's going to stay in the top 10 in the race. I think he might fall down a bit, but he'd be one to keep an eye on. Very interesting. Alongside him actually in 9th is Sebastian Zaveja in the Dragon Racing Machine. I don't know what happens to Bourdais this year, but he just can't find a setup, and Zaveja seems like he can, so he's in 9th. Bourdais is way down there in 23rd, quite shocking. And another surprise down there, well, quite a few surprises down there. We've got James Hinchcliffe down in 20th, the winner from the last race down in 20th. Dario Franchitti down in 17th. Simona Di Silvestro in 14th. We've got Alex Tagliani in 15th. Pagano in 13th, 10 places behind his teammates. So yeah, there's quite a few big names down there, and down the bottom of the field. He could work their way up during this race, and strategy is always going to be important, especially around this track where it's tough to overtake. But that hasn't meant we've had boring races in the past. We probably had one of the best races of the year last year. You know, great overtaking, great battling for position. The bumpers really did help with cars getting alongside, maybe clipping in a bit. But remember, we didn't get punctures or anything. So, you know, you could really battle hard with someone because of the bumpers that Indy cars have. So, again, look for that to maybe happen. And as I said, someone else to look on, a dark horse maybe for this race, Takuma Sato and the AJ Font machine. He qualified in the front row in St. Petersburg, but he could only get 12th here because his times in Q2 in the top 12 shootout basically, and his fastest 2 times got disqualified because he was accused of blocking Justin Wilson, the Del Coin machine. I know the dark horse maybe in 8th place, but yeah, so he made it into the fast 6, but then he had his time disqualified, so he's down in 12th. So maybe look out for him to go through the field. That's not where he's qualified, that's not his true pace. So I think he may be working his way up the field. If he keeps it together, of course, he has got a bit excited in the past around this track and say in his KV racing machine in the past. So maybe look out for him to make some moves through the field and maybe making his way up the order. But as I said, the final guy that I keep an eye on, Justin Wilson in 8th in the Del Coin racing machine. Always on a road course you can count on the Britain, the former F1 driver, of course, with Minardi and Jaguar in 2003 to be up there, in the Del Coin machine. In any racing machine he's been in America, he's won a couple of races on the road courses, on the street circuit as well. He famously won for Del Coin in Watkins Glen in 2009 off the top of my memory. I think it's 2009 he did that, but yeah, he always look out for him to be up there challenging. So yeah, that's quite a few of them. Look out for the Penske boys, look out for Wilson, for Sato, of course, Vautier, Hunter, Ray, and look out for the guys at the back, maybe winking their way through, such as Bourdais, Hinchcliffe, Franchitti, Kanan, Serbia, Tagliani. It is just set up for an amazingly great race, for great passing, maybe even. As I said, he's not a track renowned for passing, but it's just great to see these guys battling hard, and you will see that, and you will see them go over this picturesque circuit. It really helps that this circuit is really lovely to watch. You can see great curves around it, undulation all over the place, and he's got some great corners as well. But that is my preview of this Indy Grand Prix of Alabama, which is happening later today. Hopefully I'll get this up before it starts, but yeah, I think it starts around 6 UK time. So I hope you have enjoyed this. I'll be back tomorrow with some gameplay. I think I'll show some Road to Glory. So salamat for watching. So till next time, cheerio. And post-roll time. So what other series are going on? Well, there's the World Touring Car Championship in Marrakesh, Morocco, and they have the AutoGP series supporting them. That's been on Eurosport in the UK over here. But yeah, it looks like Honda finally got that together after a disappointing opening round. And so yeah, there's been quite a few big accidents as well. Tom Boardman, he can't do the second race because he had a huge accident in practice. So hope he's there. And I saw Tom Carnell, I'm a follower on his YouTube channel, watched his video of his crash he had with Darryl Young in qualifying. They were trying to do the slipstream thing, and Carnell just outbraked himself by 50 metres, went into the back of a Young, and that was their qualifying sessions over. So yeah, watch out for World Touring Car. Of course, there's MotoGP, the big one. I'll say that's the big one this weekend in Qatar, in Lusail, and on the Lusail circuit, probably the most boring season opener circuit ever. But the bikes, they normally have an interesting time round there, and it's a very interesting qualifying session with Jorge Lorenzo out qualifying Cal Crutchlow for pole. Cal Crutchlow right up there on the Tech 3 Yamaha, challenging the Works bike. And so yeah, that looks like an interesting race, because you also got Danny Pedrosa in the Honda right behind them. Vanti and Rossi down in 7th, so disappointing for the Doctor there. But there's Ducati up there as well with Andrea Dovizioso, so very interesting race, even though it looks like Yamaha might get that one with Lorenzo, but of course we're going to have to see the race pace from the Honda as well. But that's on the BBC over here in the UK, and it's also on Eurosport as well later in the day. So yeah, you have your choices to pick them. I normally go for Eurosport because the commentators are so much better on Eurosport, but yeah, it's down to personal choice basically, and the BBC is actually really more available as well, of course it's online on the iPlayer as well. So yeah, that's MotoGP, that's World Touring Cars, that's AutoGP. There's also been the Formula Renault 3.5 series that started. I saw Antonio Felix da Costa's 1-0 race, and we saw the McLaren youngster Vendrone. I can't say his name, but yeah, he won the opening round yesterday on his debut in the series, so that's very impressive. That is a guy to keep an eye on. I think he won the title in the Formula Renault 2.0 series last year, so keep an eye on him, and he looks very impressive. And that's held in Monza, and that's also that was on Eurosport. I'm not sure if it is this season because the coverage last season was quite poor, but yeah, this season I think it's still on Eurosport, and that'll be played a couple of days after this weekend, I believe. So, or this evening. So yeah, that's the selection of some of the other motorsport days going on this weekend. It's never a dull weekend in the motorsport world, even if you don't have like F1 or World Rally Championship or even NASCAR on occasion not running. So yeah, that's what's happening this weekend. So yeah, I am finished. Bye.